from the vault, high atop the pastoral center of the Diocese of Camden, you're listening to Talking Catholic.
Hey everybody, this is Talking Catholic. I'm Pete Sanchez, and with me is Michael Walsh. We are here on, it's middle February, Mike. What happened to
Dude, I can't believe you. All the goofy ways you start the podcast, and you didn't start it by saying, Happy Valentine's Day, Mike.
Happy Valentine's. I apologize.
I cannot believe that. I mean, this is going up on Thursday. I was certain you were going to start the podcast by wishing me a Happy Valentine's Day.
I'm sorry. Well,
I guess I'm not your Valentine. All right, whatever.
No.
Nope. Okay, don't say anything now. I'm already offended.
Darn it. Yes, it is Valentine's Day, so I hope you have your chocolate hearts and your chocolate bears and your marshmallow peeps.
Chocolate bears?
Yeah, don't they have chocolate bears out there? Like the big ones that you can buy? They're hollow.
Well, I think there are many chocolate-formed structures that you can give a person. I was a little surprised you had narrowed it down to chocolate bears, because usually you give a teddy bear as a fluffy.
You're right. I guess.
But no, sure, chocolate bears. I think that's nice too.
I combined the two. You know what is really cool, Mike, and I'm so happy they have the Build-A-Bear.
You mean in general that they exist?
Yeah, they have one at the Cherry Hill Mall. They have a Build-A-Bear workshop. I was just there last week. I needed to get jeans.
So you went to the Build-A-Bear shop?
No, I went through the mall.
Oh, okay.
To Old Navy, where I go to all these different places. Try to stay away from the hipper ones. I don't know, Abercrombie and Fitch. It's not really my style. But anyway,
I wish there were people here right now. We'd all laugh together. But all right, keep going.
But I'm not hip. I'm not hip enough for Abercrombie or American Eagle. But
you seem more like a Hollister man to me.
Hollister?
That's another hip brand.
I guess maybe J. Crew.
Sure, I could see that. Yeah. I'm more of an LL Bean.
LL Bean is rustic. I do like LL Bean and REI.
My goal is my fashion style is lumberjack. That's my preferred fashion style is lumberjack.
That is, well, I just got a nice flannel for Christmas.
Is there anything other than a nice flannel? Flannel's the best.
You're right. Amen. But we'll show the Build-A-Bear. So I was just saying, if we can get back to the bears. It's just like a cool concept about, I did this years ago. I made a stuffed animal for my sister and my little sister when I was in college. And it's just like the coolest idea. It's just neat. Like you can create your own plush animal. Like it's. I
can't listen. As the father of a 10-year-old, we went through the Build-A-Bear phase where every birthday party was at a Build-A-Bear store.
Really?
There were many Build-A-Bears around the house. It's. I'm actually a little happy that we're sort of beyond that phase now, the plushy phase. But Build-A-Bear. I am well familiar with the Build-A-Bear.
Yeah, it's I remember the birthday parties I had was Chuck E. Cheese.
I've never been to a Chuck E. Cheese.
I
consider myself lucky that I've been able to.
I was going to say, but the thing is, it's a little slice of Americana that is very interesting to see these animatronic.
Was that intended to be a pun?
Oh, slice. Yeah, it's a little cheesy slice of Americana.
Got it.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Nope, wasn't intended. Didn't think so.
No, it just worked. It just worked out perfectly. But yeah, the Chuck E. Cheese, they're there's that, and you talk about the Waffle House. I think it's kind of that Americana of these just places.
All right, let me just stop you there. You can't put Chuck E. Cheese and Waffle House in the same sentence. I get what you're saying about there is an iconicness to a Chuck E. Cheese and an iconicness to a Waffle House, but one is, gastro nirvana, and the other is a place where there's a ton of screaming kids and some video games and pizza and animatronic people or animals.
Yeah, which I think, I can agree with that. I apologize because I've never been to a Waffle House.
That's disturbing.
I do hope to. But see, there's a difference here. I do want to go to a Waffle House eventually. I kind of never want to go to Chuck E. Cheese again. Sorry. But it just, birthday parties and Build-A-Bear. I wish I kind of said, I wish, but it was just fun. So Valentine's Day, and do you have plans, Mike, with your
No.
beloved?
My wife and I despise Valentine's Day. We believe it's a made-up day for people to make other people feel bad. And no, we don't do anything for. I think much like our anniversary, there may be a high five in there, but no, it's actually the Valentine's Day is actually our half-year anniversary. We were married on August 14th, so February 14th is our half-year anniversary, and yeah, no, almost no celebration of it of any kind. Not barely even a card, maybe a wink, if we want to be particularly cheeky. But no, it was never a big deal. Growing up, I'm me, so it wasn't like Valentines were coming flying at me in my youth. This wonderful personality that you get to see on a regular basis. This is about the same personality I had as a young person too. So, it wasn't my dating life was not all that great to begin with. So no big deal.
Well,
NBD. We do stuff for Jack, but that's about it.
Oh, that's not yeah. We It's just I remember going to school and I don't know if they still do this in Catholic schools, but we had the little paper bag attached to our desks, and you always wanted to see, what cute girl gave you the Valentine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I got one from Nicole, or I can say Nicole because I had a 4th grade girlfriend.
Oh, well, hey,
that was
la-di-da. No wonder Valentine's Day is important, but no. Yeah.
She gave, cool. You know what? She gave me a mood ring for February. This is how she was. She gave me a mood ring that I promptly lost in the Cherry Hill Mall bathroom.
Oh, that's disturbing. That
is disturbing. Yeah, weird. But then what she did for a prank on April Fool's, she gave me little. She said, "Oh, here, I thought they were little Oreos." No, she took Oreos and replaced them with toothpaste.
Ew, that's not good.
That's diabolical.
That is diabolical.
So that's.
I think I like that girl. All right.
Probably not why we're together. No, she actually left the school. So, but I
like her a lot.
But yeah, so well, we got other.
Well, before we get into that, you want to? I guess we can talk a little bit about. So Valentine's Day, we're being kind of cheeky and everything. That yesterday was sort of a big day in the diocese because Bishop Sullivan, along with the other 4 bishops of New Jersey, released the names of the credibly accused priests in all the dioceses of New Jersey. So that's the first time that has been released en masse. And it was, I think people are still recording this while people are getting it. It's actually the day before Valentine's Day as we record this. And, we're kind of curious I'm kind of curious to see what the reaction is going to be. I mean, it's a lot of names, but it's, they're all from cases that occurred before 1995. It's everybody that has ever been reported to the diocese, and it's been determined to be a credible accusation. And it's the release of it is the idea is to help people sort of understand, help victims in their process of coming to grips by having the perpetrators brought to light. And I think it's intended to make sure that the people know that, since this scandal first broke in 2002, the dioceses across the country and across the world have been working very hard to make sure that our churches and our schools and our parishes are places of safety where people can be confident that there are procedures and policies in place to protect them and their loved ones from being abused. And one of the things that sort of goes to the credibility of being able to say that we provide that is also releasing the names of those who have been accused of child sexual abuse. So that went out yesterday. And it can be all 5 dioceses have the lists up on their websites. You can also, I'm sure, find it in the media by now. But we, it was an important first step, and it was something that, or an additional step in the process, not a first step, but an additional step in the process, and something Bishop Sullivan felt very strongly about. He'll actually be speaking about it at all masses, at all churches around the diocese this weekend, and a video message that he'll be recording later today. And he just hopes that it brings some solace to not just the victims, but certainly them primarily, but also the people of the diocese, that they know that, the diocese is really making a concerted effort to help people to understand that, the lessons of the past have been learned, and going forward, the goal is to do things properly in a way that fosters credibility and truth, and make sure that we're raising up the people who need raising up, in this case victims, and not holding them down. So
thanks for that, Mike.
Sure. Didn't want to record the podcast without. I think it's important enough that it should be included in this, even though I know we try to keep things pretty up, and that's the goal of this podcast, is to let people know that all the good things going on in the diocese and around the world. But every now and again, something is big enough that I think it needs to be discussed, or at least brought up. So anyway,
and everything can be found on camdendiocese.org as well. At least from our diocese.
Yep.
And
it'll also be in the Catholic Star Herald this week.
Yes.
And I can already tell you, you're going to find it in the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Courier Post, NJ.com, all your usual news sources.
Of course, your parishes this weekend.
And of course, Bishop will be talking about it specifically at the parishes this weekend. Yep. So what else do we have going around the diocese?
Well, we have coming up, of course, this is Black History Month. Bishop Sullivan will celebrate a Mass at St. Charles Borromeo Church on February 24th. That is at 176 Stagecoach Road in Sicklerville. That is Sunday, February 24th. He'll celebrate the 2:30 Mass at St. Charles Borromeo Church in Sicklerville, and the light reception will follow. So come on out for Black History Month Mass with Bishop Sullivan, February 24th, 2019, St. Charles Borromeo at 2:30. And this is a cool event for the youth. I actually spent some time, Mike. I was with the young church at Stockton with Bishop Sullivan this past Sunday, and it was awesome just to see these kids. But the good work of the ministry office of youth ministry, young adult ministry. This is going to be the youth leader, missionary discipleship, and how to create missionary disciples. It's going to be Saturday, March 2nd, 2019, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Assumption Regional Catholic School. And this is for teens in grades 8 through 12 to come on out, learn for a great day of leadership, socialization, fellowship at 146 South Pitney Road in Galloway, New Jersey. Again, Saturday, March 2nd, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Assumption Regional Catholic School. Call Greg Coogan at 856-583-2908 for more information. Come together with the fellow young church of the diocese. And that same day, down in here in Camden, New Jersey, Lay Ministry Formation is sponsoring it's a retreat day called To Be Holy. It is going to be it says here, talks about one of the things Pope Francis has talked about, how Jesus wants us to be saints and not to settle for a bland and mediocre existence. So come on out here. How we can discover our ordinary lives, how we can help our lives become grow in holiness. So this workshop is open to the public and is strongly recommended for any who work in ministry. This is at Sacred Heart High Center. Actually, I'm sorry, it's not in Camden. It's in Vineland at Sacred Heart High Center, 15 North East Avenue in Vineland, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. $25, checks payable to the Diocese of Camden, and bring a lunch, a light breakfast, and drinks will be provided. And Mary Neary will be the presenter for this event. It's a retreat day for spiritual formation, and find out how all of us are called to be holy. For more information, contact Colleen Mayhew, the Lay Ministry Formation Secretary. And all information is, all of these announcements and more are on camdendiocese.org. And Yeah, camdendiocese.org on the calendar on the right-hand side. Oh, Mike, we got to talk about coming up. This is great. In April, once again, the Faithful Food Drive is happening.
Yes, it is. It's always a really nice day where we get loaded up with goods for the needy in the area who. There's always a lot of food drives around Thanksgiving and Christmas, but what people don't realize is that food instability is something that's year round. It's actually worse in the summertime. But sort of to help that and help people on in those off months, the other 10 months of the year. We're hosting this Faithful Food Drive, so it's actually a little later than usual this year, and I'm kind of happy about that because I think it'll help the food banks even more, being a little bit past. Usually do it mid-March. So it's when is it? April 7th?
Sunday, April 7th.
Yeah. So your parishes will have information about how and when food will be collected, but it'll be the same as last year. It'll be got to make sure it's non-perishable foods, preferably canned foods, and boxed foods with a long shelf life, and bring stuff out. I know my parish always loads up on stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited for this. It's always a great day to help those who are hungry. And according to statistics, this is heartbreaking. 1 in 6 people and 1 in 5 children here in South Jersey, they suffer from food insecurity, which means they might not know where their next meal is coming from. So help them out. Help these individuals get a stable future. Yeah. And help them fill their bellies. Mm-hmm. And we realize here that we're so blessed, and just
it's important for us, though, those of us who have to help others.
Exactly.
I mean, at the end of the day, even when we're tired and we're bitter and we're angry, or maybe that's just me, we got to also remember that despite that, we have to be helping people in other ways. And even those of us like yourself who are good-hearted and nice and kind, that we still have to do other stuff that like we can't just be good-hearted, nice, and kind. We have to be good-hearted, nice, and kind. And we have to marry those to actions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We need, we can have faith.
The good word and the good works.
Good word, good works. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And come on out. I'm looking forward to that. That'll Sunday, April 7th, the Faithful Food Drive. And, of course, you'll get more. As the weeks go on, there'll be more information coming up. So
That's
just
right.
Save the date.
Maybe we'll have Mary McCusker on. She's the one currently leading it up, much to her chagrin. And we'll have to have her on and drive her insane with asking crazy questions she can't answer.
Well,
it's my favorite thing.
But she is so lovely, and I always love her in the fall. And I always think of that Mary Poppins song. It's a jolly holiday with Mary.
I have never thought of that once.
It just popped in my head because
she
is jolly.
She would you should text that to her. She would appreciate that today, I think.
Well, maybe I will, or we should put we do get her in, we'll put it on a board. We still need to get that whiteboard for people to sign eventually.
Why are you looking at me?
We
didn't say it was a whiteboard. It's supposed to be a canvas. You go out and get the canvas. I'll hang it up on the wall.
Okay, I still need to do that.
Okay.
If anybody, any business has a canvas that they would like to donate.
Donate? Go to Hobby Lobby and pick up a big canvas.
I hear they're opening a Hobby Lobby near me. I'm very excited.
Well, do so.
And Mike, I have a question. Do you like jazz?
I do like jazz.
You do? I do too. There's just something. Honestly, for years I've had Ken Burns jazz, the music, in a box set, 6 CDs, and I just put it on last weekend. It's been great listening to Stan Gilbert. I think that's his name, or João Gilberto. There's a Stan Getz, Desafinado.
Okay, is
a great song, and then of course you have Duke Ellington, you have Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald, Dave Brubeck. There's just something about jazz. It's just
it's great.
And it's just, I think it's the creative aspect of it. It's just really just I don't know. It's something. As somebody who has played the piano and is trying to pick it back up, it'd be great to really. There's just something. There's the improvisation. There's the, people just. Whenever I see jazz musicians, they just look like they're having the best fun up there.
I agree.
And they're all talented. Yep. So The Diocese of Camden's Black Catholic Ministries and Cultural Diversity, I'm excited, is going to have the 28th Annual Afternoon of Jazz Plus on Sunday, April 28th at Aletto Caterers in Almanesson, New Jersey, 1849 Cooper Street, from 2 to 7 p.m. Fun, fellowship, a superb buffet dinner, and dancing to the renowned sounds of the Max. I might be there. I might put that on my calendar. Sunday, April 28th.
You should make it. It should be fun.
Yeah, it's costs us $50 per person. For more info, call Joanne DeGennaro at 856-583-2904 or the chairperson, Lisa Scott Coley, at 856-313-7443. And this is cool. It's all proceeds benefit the Black Catholic Ministries and Cultural Diversity Scholarship Fund. So that's really come out for a good cause. Listen to some great music, great food. You meet new friends and dancing. I'm excited. Sunday, April 28th. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then, Mike, we're going to talk about the iRace for Vocations.
Oh yeah. That is coming up. It's going to be early this year. It's going to be March. Shoot, can't remember the date.
March
30.
Is it the 31st?
I think it's the 31st.
Yeah, the 31st at Washington Lake Park. Again, and we've talked about the iRace before. Sorry, Mike, I lost my train of thought here. I thought I had this right in front of me, and it disappeared on me. Hey, yay, social media. But this will be a fun event. So mark your calendar. Yeah, it's the 8th annual iRace for Vocations 5K run, 1 mile walk at Washington Lake Park in Sewell. So again, that's March 31st. Register for free and go to camdenpriest.org/iRace4, the number 4 vocations. And I'm excited to be there. Always, pray for good weather.
Oh yeah. Well, I tell you, I mean, prayers for good weather as well as for vocations, but they always get it though. I don't think they've had a rainy day yet.
No.
It may be a cold day on March 31st, but I certainly don't think they're going to get a rainy day.
No, I don't. Pray to yeah. It promises to be a great day on March 31st. The beautiful Washington Lake Park in Sewell. Bishop Sullivan will be celebrating Mass. There'll be food. There'll be fun. There'll be dancing. It's just neat, Mike. I love seeing the priests and the religious dancing to the DJ. Normally, one of the priests has been a DJ the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I hope that's the same case. So again, March 31st at Washington Lake Park in Sewell, and more info will be released later on. We're excited. Save the date. And Mike, so can we talk about? You can talk about what podcast is this? You were at this.
Yeah, it was sort of a on the fly podcast. We had found out that Rowan Catholic Campus Ministry was going to have a presentation about some of their members having gone down to the Texas-Mexico border and spent some time with Sister Norma Pimentel as part of a Share the Journey pilgrimage sponsored by Catholic Charities. And when we heard the kids were going to talk about it with the other members of the Rowan Catholic Campus Ministry, we asked if we could come with our equipment, and we just recorded it as presented. So it's no Q&A. It's just them talking about their trip, but I think it's pretty nice, and they were really enthusiastic, and they really had a great time, and they had some unique perspectives on it, which I think is good for people to hear. And Mary McCusker was in attendance too. I think she may have asked 1 or 2 questions or commented about things because she too was on the trip down to the border. So yeah, it should be good. So we hope people enjoy the listen.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yep.
And next week, Mike, we got a lot of cool podcasts coming up.
Yeah, I hope
pipeline
so.
The next. Yeah, well, we're pretty good. A lot of great, exciting stuff.
Yeah. So take a listen to this, and we'll talk to you guys later.
All right. So again, for most of you, you all know me, but like I said, my name is Tim, Timothy Broderick. I'm a junior here at Rowan University, and so what we're gonna do real quick is me, Krista, JP, Bree, Deacon Aaron, and Mary were able to share our trip on this Share the Journey pilgrimage. We took it the second week of January. And we are just going to give little quick testimonies about why we went and like how it affected us. So I'll start off. Personally, when I first heard about this trip, like I just thought of it as a cool way to help out people down there, and really just to get like an idea. I've always heard people talking about this issue, and I really was like, I've been recently, since growing in faith, desiring to gain more information on issues before I talk about them, and I thought this was just such a great opportunity with such a present issue in our country today. So I thought this was a great way to like just get like firsthand experience on what we were actually dealing with and talking about. And I definitely was able to get that on this trip. And like I said, I intended to want to go and help people, but these people ended up helping me. And we'll talk about that more as the event goes on. But really, these people were truly incredible to witness. I'm learning Spanish now as a result of going on this trip because I really just want to connect with these people, as a result of this trip. So really, I'm just looking forward to what the future holds and all that I can do as a result of this.
Thanks, Tim. I'm Krista Olette. I'm a sophomore at Rowan University, and the Share the Journey pilgrimage for me was life-changing. So when I first heard about the Solidarity Pilgrimage, and I heard Yvonne talk about it, and then a few students from Newman, we got to go to Catholic Relief Services ambassador training and learn more about the issue of migration and refugees. For me, like, having this opportunity was the best. I was able to put my faith into action and not just like talking about it, believing in it, whatever. Like, I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm making a difference. And I learned a lot too. I thought, like, I know the issues of immigration. Like, I thought I thought I had it all down, but the issue is so much more complicated than I think any of us can just start to comprehend. And I don't know, this, I can't wait to go back. I was not ready to leave when we left.
That's so true. We were all so excited to be there, and we really loved our time down there. So
it was just absolutely incredible. I can't wait to go back.
Okay, thanks, Krista. I'm JP Ciliberto. I'm a sophomore. So I didn't know too much about the trip. I kind of just got like a brief description of it, kind of vague, so I really didn't know what I was going to get into, and that's probably one of the reasons why I was hesitant to sign up. I signed up on like the last day of the deadline, and I really wasn't sure what to expect. I also didn't really know too much about the whole immigration issue. I'll just hear a little bit about it here and there, and I never really had much of an opinion either, and that's probably why, because I didn't know too much about the issue. But I thought, well, I like to travel, so I thought on one side it would be cool to go see different area, the warm weather, all that stuff. But then I thought, and that was really nice. But then I thought, well, I'm looking for ways to try to volunteer and try to serve others. And, as college students, we're really busy, and it's just kind of harder to do that. You're stuck in your daily routine. You have things you got to do. So it's kind of hard to reach out to others unless you really have like a good way. And I thought, well, this is a great way, opportunity coming to me. I thought, I might as well take it. And so it was a great opportunity to help other people, and it also was kind of like a retreat and experience in a way that we bonded with each other. Like, I only knew a few people from the group. There's a couple students from Stockton, one from Rutgers-Camden, and we all got along. We got along with our leaders. Everyone, we just had a good time. We became better friends out of it, and as a whole, we were able to reach out to these immigrants coming through, and I knew a little bit of Spanish going into it, so I thought, well, maybe I can use that, and I did. It was limited, but I was able to use it, and it was amazing how we could interact with them, given the language barrier, and just everything that they went through. Like, you wouldn't, like, by the way they acted, you know, you wouldn't know. Like, once you got to know them a little bit better and show, like, kind of gain their trust, they started to laugh and smile and play. Like, you guys were playing soccer with them. Deacon Aaron and I were having a catch with that little kid who had a crazy arm. That was funny. But yeah, just the way we got to interact with them, you know, like, I think that was probably the best part we got about the whole trip, is just being at the respite center itself, just hanging out with those people, you know, just and helping them. And then in addition to that, all the other people we got to meet down there. Another thing I was looking forward to was just the culture, the whole kind of like Spanish culture. And it's almost like being in Mexico without actually, you know, being in Mexico, obviously, because everything's bilingual down there. It's like all these tight communities. We got to meet some college students, some other families. So it was just really cool, all in all, just to help others and then just to meet other really cool people and have some cool experiences that I was not expecting. But yeah, that's what I took from it.
Thanks, JP. I'm Brianna Godfrey. I'm a senior at Rowan University. I first heard about this opportunity to do the Solidarity Pilgrimage last year when one of our former members attended the pilgrimage, and I was a little hesitant first because I didn't really understand like my own personal opinion about immigration, and just hesitant because of how divided I believe our country is on the matter of immigration. But I'm so glad that I took the opportunity this past few weeks ago because it gave me a better understanding of how I feel, and it changed my heart. Just hearing the stories and getting to interact with all the people there, and especially the children, and just being able to serve them and to volunteer, which is what I really love doing, and to help others. And it was just a really good experience for me. And
Deacon, do you want to share your experience?
Sure. Deacon Aaron Smith. I'm assigned here at the Newman Center in Glassboro at Rowan University. I'm a graduate of Rowan University, so it is a second home to me down here. I was originally supposed to go on the trip back in the fall of 2018 or in the summer, but being a deacon, we work full-time, and getting time off from work is not always the easiest. So I was able to get off time to go with our students this year. And I always say anytime you do a retreat experience, and the people that are meant to be there are the ones that are there. So I couldn't imagine taking that trip with anybody else or any other group than the group we had. We really bonded really well. Yvonne, our campus minister, is not here tonight. He's having car trouble. But you know, he definitely led us. It was a great experience. We got to interact with more than just the people that were coming from Mexico, and we actually got a tour of the Rio Grande where you cross over. It's only about 40 or 50 feet across. You know, you think of Rio Grande that it's this big monstrous river, but it's really not. And we got to go see what they actually swim over or cross over. We met with people that live in the area. So, you know, the big word now is to build a wall down there. Well, there's actually going to be American citizens and American towns that would be stuck between the wall and the Mexican border. So we got to interact with them. That was an interesting piece of information I wasn't aware of before. It just happened to be the same week as International Migration Week, and it happened to be the same week in the same town where President Trump came down to speak at the wall down there. And I talked to Yvonne. I said, Yvonne, you couldn't have planned that any better. And of course, he took credit for that, but you know, it was not his doing. But it was a great. I think it made the trip extra special. And anytime you help out, even like a food kitchen, you know, you could easily do that here in Camden. But to be down there and have all that going on, to meet with the people that live there, we visited several churches. It was definitely a unique experience. I think the diocese has been doing this about a year and a half. I believe I'm the first member of clergy to go, so I highly encourage any clergy out there listening to definitely take the trip in addition to anybody else. It was really a special trip. It's one of those trips that takes several weeks. Today's January 30th. We got back, January 11th, and I'm still trying to process all that I learned. The only picture that keeps coming to my mind, you know, when Jesus rose, they didn't recognize him right away, and the road to Emmaus. And I think with the people we met with, we didn't realize they were Jesus at the time. But coming back, had time to reflect. I really feel that we met Jesus that week. So.
All right, so we're going to go over this little PowerPoint presentation that Krista so beautifully created for us here today. And we're just going to go over a couple of things that we did when we were down there. So we did a lot of different things. So let's start. And like I said, so this is where we spent a big chunk of our time. This is the whole group. So as we went down, we're going down as part of Catholic Charities, and the Catholic Charities had a Rio Grande Valley district that had a respite center right down there in McAllen, Texas. And this respite center provided housing, clothes, food, shelter, pretty much everything that you need to restore human dignity. And that was a big theme of the Solidarity Pilgrimage, is restoring human dignity to these people. A lot of these people spent up to 3 months walking on foot, with really very little commodities to make their travels with. So they come dirty. It's not easy, this travel, and it's definitely not, like you said, the most dignified way to come into a country. But the respite center does a really great job of bringing a smile to these people's faces, and I think that was such an awesome experience to be a part of. So like I said, we would spend every day we went down there, we spent a little bit of time at the respite center, probably about anywhere from 3 to 4 hours, sometimes less, sometimes more, I think. But we got assigned different tasks. Like I said, me personally, I was able to do a couple different things. One of the ones that was really challenging and fun was handing out clothes. And like I said, to someone who doesn't speak Spanish, it is a little tough to communicate with somebody who does not speak English. But you do get those little keywords. And like I said, when you see the smile on somebody's face who, got a clean shirt for the first time in 4 or 5 months, it's a pretty cool thing to see. And then the other thing that was a lot of fun and really just truly a really cool experience was just being able to play with these little kids. We played soccer. And you're going to see right here just some of the stuff. I don't know if there's any pictures of us playing soccer. I have it on my phone. But it doesn't matter. I mean, like I said, I'm just going over the respite center, really, which is like all these pictures are from the respite center. And so at the respite center, we got a really good opportunity just to, like I said, interact with some of the little kids. And, when you see a smile on somebody's face like that, like, I don't know about any of you, but like, if I had just walked 3 months, I don't know if I'd be the most pleasant person to be around. I'm not the most pleasant person to be around after I go to a 3-hour thermo class, you know what I mean? So like, let alone walking for 3 months just to come to a country where I know nobody, and to have a smile on my face the next day, playing soccer, like, that's pretty cool. So like I said, that's something for me that I experienced, and you really get to see like Jesus at work in these people. So I'm going to hand it over to JP now. We're going to talk about, I don't know what next I see on the slide. So yeah, I'll have JP talk about a little bit of our experience at the border and our experience interacting with Border Patrol officers.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, so this was a pretty cool day. As you can see on the top left, that's the current wall, as they call it there. And that's actually, about a mile from the river? Because of how windy the river is, it's actually about a mile back away from the river. And it's kind of funny, that's like a little trolley that we took there. That was kind of interesting. Was not expecting that. But there's Sister Norma in the top, on the right, far right of the top left picture. And for those of you who don't know her, she's kind of like a local celebrity down there. I mean, and if you do a Google search of her, there's pictures of her with like the Pope and everything. It's pretty amazing. And I think she knew that Border Patrol agent, but he's that guy up there in the green. He's a Border Patrol agent who worked down there. And at the time they were working, just as a side note, it was when the government was still shut down, so he was working for free or without pay, right? So he mentioned that, which is kind of a tough thing, but it was pretty cool to see. We got to talk to the Border Patrol agent and just about like what they experience and what their job is, how the immigrants come through. We got to see the river. It's amazing how windy it is. But anything else you should add?
Yeah, if I could add, Deacon Aaron, we met with the Border Patrol agent. I happened to be wearing a Knights of Columbus shirt that day, and if you see in the pictures, you see the emblem. And he pointed out that, hey, I'm a member of Knights of Columbus too. I'm Catholic, and he said, look, I got a family too. We're just trying to do the best we can with the situation. They're on very good terms down there with the Catholic Church, the Border Patrol, and Sister Norma, and that was one of the surprises, how well everybody got along. You would think there's some aggression, but absolutely not. Both sides worked very well together, and it seems like they're trying to all accomplish the same mission. We all just have a little different piece of it, but he was a Catholic. He pointed that out. He was working for no pay at the time because of the government shutdown. And I'll talk about a little bit about Sister Norma a little later. I got a little funny story about Sister Norma, but
So we'll go through a couple slides. I want to see if we can, like I said, we were able to go into the border. Oh yeah, sorry about not talking in the mic. So we were able to go, like I said, we spent one day at the border, and that was a really cool experience. The next day, I don't know if Krista has any pictures of it, but we got to meet some of the kids from a Newman Center at UTRGV. Here we go. So like I said, Newman Center, just like us, University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. And like I said, we got to meet them. What an awesome group of kids, first of all. Like, it's really cool. Like, it's cool when you get to see people at, like, your own university, but, like, seeing people at other universities, too, that also share your faith, that share, you know, that same style and desire to worship Jesus is really cool. And like I said, I'm going to have Brianna talk about it a little bit because we want her in this as well. And we're just going to, like, let her talk about how our experience was down there meeting them.
Okay, so like Tim said, we went to the University of Texas, the Rio Grande Valley, and we like started out with fellowshipping and just, you know, we shared food and we danced, and it was just a really fun experience. And they shared some of their experiences of their culture living in Texas and living in McAllen, and you know, being so close to what's going on down there, and just sharing like a little bit about their faith, their journey. And we shared a little bit of our journey and our like culture and living in New Jersey with them, which was really a good like culture shock for them. A lot of different things, and Krista would like to share some things about that.
I think we had the most fun talking about the differences between Texas and New Jersey.
That was a lot of fun.
We would not stop laughing, and it was so great to, I don't know, talk about our differences, but then just still have that, yeah.
They now know what the word John means.
Oh yeah, they now know what the word John is.
Somewhere at the border in Texas.
Yeah, so if you're, you know.
So when you hear it spread like wildfire down the south, you'll know where it started.
It was my fault.
It came from the university, the Rowan University's Newman Center. So yeah, again, then we got to meet them, and
I don't know what my next slide is.
well, let's see. Let's go. Like I said, yeah, they had dinner for us. Food down there, like I said, if that wasn't mentioned before, the food down there was fantastic.
Yeah, almost all nice.
Oh, so this is a really cool experience. I'm going to touch on this if I can. So we were able to meet not only the Newman Club at UTRGV, but we met a youth group that was much closer to the actual border in a town called Los Ebanos. And they live in what are called colonias. Now, colonias are very Latino-style housing, I don't want to say housing, but like that's how towns are constructed in these La Colonia ways. And basically what it is the rich live right next door to the poor. Like you'll see one house and it's a beautiful, well-built, landscaped beautifully. And then you'll see the house next door and it's barely standing on its four legs. You know what I mean? Like it literally is, it's kind of crazy. It's weird. Like we have rich communities here in New Jersey and we have poor communities, and they're very distinct and separate. It is not the same way down in Los Ebanos. And we got to meet, like I said, with the youth group and with some of the women in the local church groups. And they welcomed us so graciously. Their love and their kindness was so evident. Like I said, you truly saw the love of Jesus Christ in these people. And when I tell you they had that loving mother effect, not only for the people there, but for us, like they were so excited to have us. They were singing songs. They were talking. I'm trying to remember the exact message that was spoken there. If anybody does anybody remember exactly the message that we talked about? I want to say it had to do with love, and it had to do with respecting one another and being able to know that no matter how bad somebody hurts you or how bad somebody might disagree with you, like we were talking about, I think a little bit about how people are going to have different opinions on border patrol issues or wall issues. It doesn't matter. Like we're still all people of God, like conservative, liberal, whatever. Showing love is the most important thing, and knowing that God loves you in return is a really cool thing. So yeah, meeting them was really awesome.
Can I chime in real quick?
Yeah,
here,
please,
Tim?
Mary, go ahead.
Was it you who we were looking for, and then after 20 minutes we realized it was you were touring the home, the woman took you into their house.
Oh, so no.
It was
So
either you or Luke,
I'm gonna
but
tell
we
a
were
little...
trying to find people, and then I
No,
went
it was-
inside this woman's home, this group of women, this prayer group, and it was just so funny. There are photos everywhere, and they're just, giving us a tour. And this is after they just fed a group of like 30 people. we didn't even know that they were going to feed us. But you're right, with that sense of hospitality, was just
it was so evident.
unbelievable.
Yeah, no, but so Mary was mentioning that some kid got lost basically in the house. Imagine somebody coming into your house and screaming bathroom. All right, so the only word he knew was baño, but he didn't even say it right. He was like bono, like what, like come on, like you're not even gonna pronounce it right. Like it's not that hard. But we love Luke. He's a great guy.
Else.
He is something else. But shout out Luke. Luke Schotten, Rutgers-Camden. He's really going to be a pioneer over at the Rutgers-Camden Newman, so we're really praying for you, and we're out there for you, buddy. So if you're hearing this, Tim loves you, brother. Anyway, so like I said, someone comes in your house screaming bathroom. What are you supposed to do? Like, I don't know. What's this kid doing in my house? Like, you want to know where the bathroom is? Like, is that what you want? Do you want to decorate my bathroom? You want to clean it? Like, what do you want? Anyway, so like I said, Luke's a funny kid, but no, their sense of hospitality was unmatched, and it was truly awesome. Yeah, please.
I thought it was a great example of evangelization because they brought us into, there was a women's group down there that meets every Thursday night, and instead of taking time out to come to us, they brought us to them, and we were a part of their Thursday night women's prayer group. So I thought that was pretty nice, good example of evangelization. They got us right involved in what they usually do. There was singing and food.
They gave us a beautiful blessing too. They had a blessing with water that they do. I think it was for guests, and they welcomed us in so welcoming. And like I said, it had to do with the culture of how Jesus loves us and how we are children of God. Like, so they, like I said, hospitality was great, and for us to go to them was really cool.
Yeah, it's up there.
Um,
I think it had to do with the gospel that week was. Thanks. Sorry. Yeah, so I think that was really, really awesome. I think that was probably my favorite part of the night. They put rose petals and I think oil and water
this is
together,
in regards to the blessing, yeah.
Yeah. And we blessed each other. And does anyone remember, like, what we said? It was something about, like, remember that you are...
One of the lines was, "You are loved," and I can't remember the other one. I was working with the Spanish.
I think it was, "You are a child of God."
Yeah, you were a child of God.
Yeah,
that was really beautiful. But I also think it had to do with the reading that week was Jesus' baptism. Yeah.
Yeah, another cool thing from that night, real quick. Towards the end of the night, Tim and I got to talk to one of the sisters of the group. I think they were from a family of, 9 sisters?
Yeah, how much they love talking about their family.
Yeah,
really cool.
it was really cool because you could tell she obviously English was her second language, and but we were able to get along and talk and everything, and we were talking about learning languages and her family and just all kinds of things. Them coming from Mexico, and Tim and I had just such a long conversation with her. It was really cool though. See how that was just one example of how friendly they were and open to us. It's almost as if you're going to like a Thanksgiving dinner with your family, and talking with relatives or something.
Yeah, I really just
cool.
can't say it enough. Like, these people were so welcoming and so loving. Like, truly, like, that's the theme of the story that JP, like, all of us can't stop saying, is like how much they truly were an awesome group of people. And like I said, it's it's just awesome. So let's see. Like I said, I think that was the majority of what we did. We also did have. I'll chime in on it. We did actually were able to. Some of us who did not take this trip before were able to go on 2 blessing of the elderly trips. So there were 2 elderly, 1 woman and 1 man. That the church down there in Los Albanos actually goes and helps anoint and helps take care of, and they just provide that sense of community and family and to these people who don't have that like present in their lives. And we got to hear their stories, and they were just so grateful that we were there listening to their stories. And they didn't speak English, so they're sitting there speaking their story in Spanish and knowing that we don't understand them, but the fact that we were there with open ears listening was all that they cared about. And it was just, like I said, it was really refreshing just to be down there and to see what these people are doing. Because we were able to meet one of the other sisters, not Sister Norma, but Sister Ann, who goes and does this and just is there to be with people who need other people to be around them. And like I said, these people had awesome stories to tell. Sister Ann was very good at translating them and letting us hear what they had to say. So that was also really cool.
What I thought was really, really interesting was the one man that we visited. He only spoke Spanish, but he was born in America.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess for me, like, my dad had the same situation growing up in Maine. His first language was French. He didn't speak English until he moved down to New Jersey. But I guess you don't really think of it the other way. Or you don't think about other cultures or other people having that.
Yeah, you don't think about coming to America and only knowing, like, being born in America and not knowing English. Like,
right.
It just doesn't sound right, but it's true. For some people, that's how it is.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think that wraps up our trip pretty well. I don't know if anybody has any last comments. Mary, Deacon? Yeah.
I just want to say about Sister Norma, if anybody's out there, if you Google Sister Norma Pimentel, you can see she's had a lot of interaction with Pope Francis. Pope Francis actually pointed her out when he was doing a visual tour of, I think it was part of Texas, about 2015. It was a 2020 special on ABC, and he actually acknowledges her. She's nonstop. She's amazing. You know, people say when they saw Mother Teresa, she was a living saint. You could see it, and you know, I have no power to canonize her or anything, but she definitely appeared to be like a living saint. She was nonstop. She took the time to take us on a tour. I mean, it was a crazy week down there. It was the week national events with President Trump talking about the border, and there was tons of media down there, in and out of the respite center again. I told Yvonne, you know, he picked a great week, and you know, he admits that just happened. But she took the time out for us, and when she first arrived, this big Chevy Tahoe pulls up, and if you picture Sister Norma, she's only about 5'4", 5'5" or so. This big Chevy Tahoe comes driving by pretty fast, and bumper sticker on the back says Texas Catholic. I was like, oh, I wonder what a Texas Catholic is. But out steps Sister Norma. She says, follow me. About a half hour away is when we got to the border, but she drives about 90 miles an hour, so that half hour turned into about 10 minutes. And when we got done, I said, Sister, you would be great on New Jersey Turnpike.
She got a lot of places to be, and she knows how to get there pretty quick.
She is nonstop, so God has blessed us with her presence that way.
Amen. And like I said, Deacon was saying how, you know, we don't necessarily have the power to canonize her, but if she needs witnesses, she definitely got 14 more, I think, this past trip. So she got 14 more witnesses to say how awesome of a person she was. So like I said, Sister Norma, if you are by some chance listening to this, because I know you are busy, like I said.
Just one other picture I do want to point out that jumps out at me. I think, Mary, you took this picture. If you see the bottom middle picture, it's a picture every day. What happens at the respite center, they get dropped off, they're processed through ICE every day about 12:30. They drop off anywhere between 50 to 500 families, a lot of kids. It was amazing how at least half the people there are kids, I'd say under 10 years old. But Mary took this one picture. If you see, there's an older lady every day at 12:30. She's a retired teacher. She has an educational doctorate. I was talking to her for a little bit. She comes there every day at 12:30, all the new kids, because the kids are out going by the next day to catch buses. Every day she comes in at 12:30 and teaches all those kids how to say my name is whatever in English, and they all can count in English to 10 by the end of the day. So, but if you see in the picture behind it, that was a live picture. The President Trump was talking. He was in that town, and those kids are trying to watch it, even though they didn't understand English. But I just thought it was a unique picture that was captured that time.
So, guys, thank you so much for listening. But we're going to open it up to questions now. So we did experience a lot, and we were... hopefully, I think we're going to be able to answer some of your questions, but we encourage you to ask any question you want. So Chris is going to go around passing around her mic. Guys, anybody have questions? Like, seriously, anything.
Yeah.
We're here for you. We want to listen. I'll ask questions if you guys want me to ask questions, but...
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So each night, Ivan Suarez, he led reflections with our group, and this is where he really, in my opinion, just shone the way he was able to tie Catholic social teaching to what we experienced that day, and it gave us an opportunity to talk and reflect and just have some great discussions. And I think one of my biggest takeaways, and I can't remember who I was talking to about this, was the whole idea of accompaniment, and how at times it was really frustrating. You see people who are dirty and hungry. You don't know what their future holds, if they're even going to be allowed to stay in this country. They get a taste of hospitality. They could very well be sent back to their country of origin. So your natural instinct is help. You just want to help them in any way you can. And I think that night, Yvonne, I forget what reading it was. Was it Marcia and Mary? Mary and Martha, that's right. And just the idea of, and here's the difference between a solidarity pilgrimage and a mission trip. We aren't there to fix everything, right? But it was interesting to hear his take and everybody else's take on just the idea of how much sitting with somebody and just listening to them can do, even if you don't speak the same language. There was, at one point, one girl just kept talking in Spanish, and I could understand bits and pieces, and I kept saying in Spanish, "I'm so sorry, I don't understand what you're saying," and I'm sweating, I'm getting nervous, and then eventually I just stopped, and she was saying whatever she was saying, and it was just really, really interesting to kind of understand that some people just want to be heard. And if, your face is the first smiling face they've seen in God only knows how long, just sitting there with them and being present, there's a lot to be said for that. And that's something that's been in the back of my mind ever since I came back,
No, I definitely. So, like I said, I think we all can attest to just being there and being in situations where you just want somebody to listen to your situation. You don't necessarily want somebody to give you advice. You don't want somebody to tell you what they want, or what they think is best. You want somebody there to just listen, to just hear, You have somebody pass away in your house. You have somebody, you go through a tough breakup. You fail a class, yada, yada, yada. Whatever it is, you just want somebody to listen. You just want somebody to know that they're there for you. And a lot of times that person doesn't necessarily have to be your best friend. It could be somebody you just met. And like I said, for us, that whole theme of accompaniment that Mary was talking about, that is what I truly think that we were able to do on this pilgrimage. If we did anything for them, that's what we did. We were there for them. And I got to be honest, it was really, eye-opening. It's not only eye-opening, but it's it's very relatable. This is not something that you just see in the border issues. It's something you see in everyday life. Just, wanting to be heard, wanting to be heard, heard out, is very common. So, yeah, it's definitely not something to just take from a border situation. It's something about being a Catholic in general and being a Christian and being, somebody who lives a life by Jesus Christ is, that's what it's about. It's about being there. So, yeah, if anybody else wants to comment on that, please.
Or any questions in general.
Yeah, please.
Don't be shy.
Tom, yeah. Krista, would you mind handing the mic to Tom? Tom, just tell us a little bit about yourself before you speak.
Okay, so I'm Tom Videka. I'm a sophomore here at Rowan University. And, I was wondering, is anybody staying in contact with some of the people who we've met here?
I got one. So I did meet one guy. His name is Sebi. Cool dude. If Krista could go through the thing, I could show you who it is. He's in one of the pictures. Really cool dude. I'll tell you his story a little bit if you'd like. So he's actually down there in that picture, kid with the little wavy hair and beard, dead in the middle, next to Krista, kneeling down. You're right there. There you go. Seb's an awesome dude. So this is actually the person I got to talk to when we went on we met the youth group. Seb is really cool guy. He's actually not a professional dancer, but is pursuing dance as something he really wants to do. Yeah, he's really awesome guy. And I was able to talk to him just about how's it being going into high school or going into college as a kid on the border. He was telling me stories about how he's seen people come in across the border and are frantically running for their life. And then he's told me stories about how sometimes, and this happens, Border Patrol will pull him over just because of his race and his nationality. There are a ton of different things that this kid deals with on a daily basis that are 100% different from ours. But there's a lot of things that were very similar. He was telling me, he's listen, I do speak Spanish, but most people down here can't speak English and do speak English that are below the age of, like, I would say 30 or 40, because kids being born here, they do for the most part learn English. And like I said, it was kind of like, oh, I just figured, if all the adults speak Spanish, all the kids speak Spanish, and nobody learns English. No, like down there in the schools, like they're regular schools, and he was telling me, like, there's cliques in the school. There's the rich kids, and there's the poor kids, and there's the the jocks and the nerds and all that sort of stuff. Like, there's relatable aspects and all sorts of things. But Seb was a really cool guy, and that's who I got to personally meet. We did split into different groups, so I don't know if anybody else is still in contact with anybody, but like.
Yeah, as far as staying in contact, they're, especially with the kids from the students from UTRGV, they're just college students just like us. So some of us exchange Snapchats and Instagrams and stuff like that. So I exchanged Snapchats with one of the students there. Keep in contact. So yeah, it was pretty cool. We got some of us, we kind of made a connection, and so we got to keep in contact that way.
Yeah, definitely the students from UTRGV. Man, I have never laughed so hard with a group of people in my entire life.
What was the girl in the Reese's shirts name? I want to say it was Alyssa or Alicia.
Alyssa. Yeah, Alyssa.
Yeah. So it's a Reese's shirt, but it actually says Jesus. So it was really cool. Like, she was honestly she was a ball of joy. Like, she was so much fun.
Oh my God.
And she was telling us, like, how much, and like I said, the food is way better in Texas than it is in New Jersey, if you ask me, though. And she was telling me all about how much she loves the food down there, and I was like, I'm so jealous of you. But,
Well, I told her about pork roll, and now she wants to come up here. So
that's true. She does want to come up here, so we can definitely give her that.
Yeah, when we came back, we had snow. So the first thing that I did was when I walked outside was I took a picture and I sent it to all the UTRGV kids. They're like, oh my gosh, because they get snow like once every 10 years.
Yeah, and I'm telling them the same thing right now, except I'm jealous of them, and I'm like, I don't want to be in this cold weather. I want to be down there where it's like 65, 70 degrees. Yeah, right?
Krista, can you go back to the other slide of everyone in front of the river?
Yeah, there you go.
So that bottom left picture, it's our group that was there, and some local parishioners and just local people involved in the parishes. And there is one girl in the front in the black hoodie and jeans on the right. Her name's Elena. I got talking with her for quite some time. I thought that she was maybe 30 or so, just by the way that she spoke and how articulate she was. And I found out she was 20 years old. And if you can see in that picture, there's the river, right? And then that's Mexico on the other side. And there's kind of like a drop-off point. And she was telling me a story. I said, have you been to this little beautiful spot here before? She said, yeah, one of my earliest memories was coming down to that very spot where that picture was taken. I was fishing with my family members, and we heard gunshots on the other side of the river. There was a man running, and somebody shot him. And I guess that person thought that he died right then and there, when in reality, he was kind of on top of that little incline there. And she said, that's one of my earliest memories, was hearing this man screaming for help for hours on end, and just watching him. She said, sorry, I know this is graphic, but I remember just watching the blood flow down that side of the incline and into the river. She said, I haven't really been back since that. So it's and then she also has relatives who live on the other side of the river too. So, it was just very startling to hear a lot of the trauma that these people have been through. And, she's still in support of helping immigrants come to the country and being empathetic and welcoming. But again, this speaks to the whole gray area of this entire issue. She does understand very well, kind of the trauma that people often face down there, So again, it's, somebody said earlier, just like the enormous complexity of this situation. It's not black and white, and it's in our nature to want to simplify things but this is, immigration is one of those things that just can't be simplified.
Yeah, I agree with Mary. You know, before I went down there, I thought it was pretty much just a cut and dry issue, but it's a very complex issue. One of the things I learned down there is that right across where we see the picture there is Mexico. It's filled with the biggest amount of drug cartels in Mexico, right 50 feet across the little Rio Grande there. And apparently, big thing for the drug cartels is they do not like the immigrants traveling through that area into America because of the Border Patrol, and they have blimps up, and they have all this law enforcement detection. So it interferes with the drug cartel and bringing the drugs into America. So they actually try to kill the immigrants before they get over into the American soil. So you would think the biggest worry that the immigrants have to worry about is Border Patrol, but actually the Border Patrol's, you know, they're not going to hurt them. They're worried more about the drug cartels and killing them, which is, you know, another part of this complex issue that's down there.
So again, guys, I know this might sound like a lot, but seriously, there is no question that's too small, too weird, too one-sided. Like, please, yeah, Joe, go ahead. Thank you, buddy. Tell us a little bit about yourself again.
Okay, so I guess I'm a transfer student, sort of, more like a non-traditional student here at Rowan, coming to get a second degree. My question for you guys is, you mentioned that you got to hear a lot of the stories that the people across the border were telling you. I know a lot of them were in Spanish and you didn't understand, but were there any that really stuck out to you that you did understand, and like what your favorite stories were that you heard?
So there's two types of stories. Do you want to know like from like the immigrants coming in, or do you want to know from like the youth groups or the
immigrants coming in?
So like I said, unfortunately, I'll tell my story, and if anyone wants to chime in, please feel due. I was able to make two little kids, and one older, one I would say probably man in his 30s, and I wasn't able to say much. I wasn't able to get across much. I knew the little girl was coming from Honduras, and she was heading to San Francisco. And I was able to dance with this little girl. She was so cute. Like, oh my gosh, like, broke my heart, you know. That's me trying to do a southern accent. But legitimately, like, it was just, and like, she was just so filled with love. And like I said, it goes back to what I was saying before. Like, imagine traveling 3 months, like, through Mexico, you know, not a lot of food, not a lot of water, not a lot of anything for that matter. And then having a smile on your face the next day. Like I said, I was saying before, I don't have a smile after my face at 3 hours in class. Like, how do you have a smile on your face the day after you just finished a 3-month trip? You know, like, it's incredible, but it's so true. And like, they were so grateful for us to be there. There was one kid on crutches, yeah, or one, like you said, maybe just becoming a man, like 20, like early 20s man, like that had crutches, or maybe even younger, right? 16 or 17, yeah, sorry. So even younger. And he was on crutches because he had just recently had a gunshot wound. Like, that's crazy. Like, what? Like, we may deal with this sometimes in our country, but it's a very rare infrequent. Like, it's a very infrequent thing, you know, and we take it for granted sometimes. But, I mean, this is a real life issue for some people on a daily basis. And I think that was the biggest thing that I actually learned down there, was the reason why they're coming to the country. So most people, I think, and myself included before the trip, think that most people coming in are Mexican, and I'm definitely guilty of this. But most of them are actually coming from Central America. And the reason why they're fleeing from Central America is because there's the gang violence that's occurring down in the Central American region. And a little bit about why you'd be coming in, and like I said, somebody please feel free to interrupt or correct what I'm saying, because I'm not 100% certain of this, but I'm pretty certain. So when you come to this country, you're going to plead for asylum. That happens when you go to these, you come across the border, and the Border Patrol Agency will bring you to detention centers. And those detention centers will then give you a range of dates where you can be heard in front of the court and plead for asylum. Now, one common way to be granted asylum is through proving that you were from a country of war. Like, if a country's in war, usually you'll be granted asylum. However, gang violence is considered to be violence and not war. So a lot of times people won't be granted asylum based on that simple fact. Now, it's tough for me to hear that statement and feel like gang violence isn't war, when gangs are fighting in the middle of the street and innocent civilian lives are being taken, and when these gangs are recruiting your sons and then harming and destroying your daughters. I can't imagine that's not considered war or considered something that asylum shouldn't be granted over. So it's tough for me to hear that, and that's something that was, like I said, that stuck really on my heart. But going back to your question about some of the stories that I heard, I was able to talk to one guy, Kevin, who actually spoke a little bit of English. Like I said, he was able to tell me like how that he confirmed that was the reason that he left with his family. He was telling me he was trying to get away from the gangs. Like that's the few words that I was able to get out of him was he said, "We're leaving because of the gangs." And I mean, that's like it breaks your heart a little bit that could be going on somewhere.
Yeah, and just the whole, I mean, to put yourself in their shoes for a minute, when we visited the river at one point, we were talking to a Border Patrol agent, we were talking to Sister Norma. We learned about one woman who was led to one of the most dangerous parts of the river. So it looks peaceful, but there are all sorts of undercurrents. And it was the Border Patrol agent who said people are more likely to drown in this river than to survive swimming across. And we were told one story about a woman who was there with her son and her baby. And the guy who led her there, he was a coyote, not the animal. I don't know if everyone knows what that means, but they're pretty much, I think the definition is people smugglers. So they'll say, hey, we'll take you across Mexico to the border. You pay us this amount and we'll take you there. But unfortunately, they kill people along the way. They'll take their money and all of their documentation and kill them anyway, or they'll lead them to a part of the river that they know full well is incredibly dangerous to cross, because in their minds, what incentive do they really have to keep these people alive? So that's a whole other level of, but the one story was that a woman was crossing and she was told, here, cross here, it's shallow. She took a few steps into the water with, baby in one hand, 5-year-old in the other, and immediately the baby got washed away and drowned. When she nearly drowned herself, but she and her 5-year-old made it. And it turns out that was now the 4th family member who died. Back in Honduras, where she came from, her husband and I believe her eldest son, her 2 eldest sons and her husband were kidnapped and held for ransom. And a lot of people think, okay, well, if they're fleeing gang violence, they must be involved in a gang, right? But that's really not how it is. I mean, in communities and towns of these countries where there's just lawlessness and, police won't step in because they're getting paid off by the cartels, and the towns are run by cartels and gangs, you can't just call 911. But this woman, her sons and her husband were kidnapped, held for ransom. They contacted her and said, give us X amount of money. And she did. And she then found out that they murdered her sons and her husband anyway. And that for her was the last straw. That's when she left. So, I mean, it's heartbreaking to hear that. And then, she made it all the way thousands of miles through Mexico with an infant in one hand and a 5-year-old just to get to the river 40, 50 feet away from, the U.S. just to lose another infant. So, thank God she and her other kid made it here. But that's unfortunately one of the many types of stories that you'll hear. And, as Tim said, it's unfathomable to me how violence isn't considered, good enough reason to seek asylum.
Yeah.
Sorry, I feel like I'm the downer in this conversation. I'm sharing all the sad stories.
It's not an easy conversation to have, but this is why we have it.
I'll try to lighten the mood a little bit then.
Thank you.
Yeah, as a permanent deacon, we're married and we have children, so was in the room with JP and Tim. We were trying to help people, the men's room with clothes. And I took French in high school, so I kick myself now that I wish I took Spanish. But those guys knew a little bit, like pantalones is pants. Now I'm very impressed.
It's all that Duolingo knowledge he's got. I'm telling you, that's a good app for all you looking out there.
But we talk about, did you communicate? There's a lot of stuff that was kind of frustrating that week that I couldn't understand what they're saying, and part of that, there's a rationale behind that because they want us to experience what it's like for them to have to travel and not understand the language too. But as a father, I could see some universal signs. Again, there's a lot of children, and it was amazing how many children. There was one little boy that JP brought up earlier. One little boy that was just in a corner crying, and I know that universal language. So I went in the other room and I grabbed the football, and I'm sure that kid never held a football before. But we started having to catch, and that kid, 6 years old, had a gun on his arm. So, unfortunately, I probably created the next Cowboys starting quarterback down the line. But that universal language. And then his dad, he's got his clothes, and they had to go. And the dad took him out of the room, and he left the football, and the kid started crying. I said, well, I know what that language is. I don't need to know Spanish for that. And we gave him the football to take, and he had a big smile. So, it was, sometimes you don't need to...
It doesn't always take a lot.
Know what they're saying.
Yeah.
So I think for one thing that stuck with me, I was heading to go play out back at the respite center with a few of the kids, and Alicia, one of the other students from Stockton who came with us, were playing with the children also. So I joined her, and there was a father there with his son, and he was trying to say something in Spanish to us, and us not really knowing enough Spanish to really understand exactly what he was saying, Alicia gave him her phone, and he typed in Google Translate something, and it translated from Spanish to English that we already love our new home. And so I had so many mixed emotions about this. I was really happy, and I thought it was really sweet, just because of the fact that he had just met us, and he felt like he could trust us, and he was happy. And from everything that they already have been going through for months and even for years back in their home country. But then I also felt really sad because there's no guarantee that is going to be their home, just because of the possibility of being deported.
I think one of the bright spots, though, the respite center, we were interacting with people that were in the country for no more than 72 hours, I believe is what we were told. And what happens every day, again, I said at 12:30, this large bus arrives, or bus loads, several buses of the people that are being released from ICE detention after 72 hours in the country. And when they get off that van or off that bus, their faces are just very down and very sad. And when they walk in the building, everybody claps and welcomes them. And you see within 15, 20 minutes their whole demeanor changes. And that's why the respite center started. Before, people were just being released from the ICE centers down there and just let loose in the town to sit at the bus stop until the next day. No food, no clothes, and no showers. And Sister Norma, again, is the one that saw the need and stepped up and got Catholic Charities and got us down there eventually.
Yeah, just like I said, I was talking about the respite center earlier. They really do a great job down there. Deacon was saying, like I said, how it doesn't take long for them to feel welcomed. And the really cool part is just how so a lot of these people come into this country and do know somebody or someone in this country, and it's funny, you'll hear them and they'll come in and they'll be like, yeah, I'm going to go to Minnesota. And I'm like, you're crazy. You know that, right? It's nothing like Honduras in Minnesota. It's 2 degrees up there. But they usually do a great job of, like I said, they have a team at the respite center that helps these people coming into the country reach out to the people that they do know, and they help arrange bus tickets to these areas. And like I said, it only takes, some of them no more than 24 or 36 hours before they're out and ready and they're on their bus and they're heading out. But you can feel like every day was so exciting going there, because you knew man, I got such a great experience one day, and now I get to do it all over again the next day, with a whole different group of people. And you're kind of sad that you are not going to see the people you saw yesterday, but you know that you're just going to touch that many more lives. And I can't imagine. So we were there for 4 days, 5 days. How many people they helped? On a yearly basis, how many people do these people see? And they were saying it was a slow time for us. We were getting 50, 60 a day.
So we saw 60 to 70 families a day. Just a couple weeks prior to that, it was 500, 600
right?
a day. So it fluctuates, it varies. But since the respite center opened in 2014, it's helped over 100,000 people.
Yeah,
and just to be clear, they're not just released and and that's it. Like, they're released with an ankle bracelet that's put on them at the facility, at the processing facilities. And, another thing that the respite center helps with is giving them legal advice that they otherwise would not have understood. Things like, do not tamper with the ankle bracelet, or else like it'll start beeping and you will probably get picked up. Don't miss your hearing date. Don't, just practical tips that they might not have been told at detention facilities. That's always really important.
Yeah, just giving them that extra, 5, 10, whatever percentage chance of it is to help them stay in the country. I mean, you don't know, like I said, like, these people are new. They don't know exactly how the legal system works here in America. They don't know exactly what they're getting into sometimes. So just all the information they do give them is truly awesome. But again, I'm going to open it up again. Questions, please. Don't feel hesitant to ask. Oh, we're going to wrap it up? All right. So never mind. Thank you all for coming. Really was, honestly, for me, I can say this right now, it was a pleasure talking to all you about this. It really was cool.
Same here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I just want to say one final thing. Mary brought up the quote when we were there, and I did use it in the homily that I had to preach, I think, a day and a half after we got back. But Mary said, there's a lot of people that have different views on the border, one way or the other. Should be build a huge wall, no wall. There's a couple different viewpoints, and Mary said that you don't need to have empathy for somebody that's hurting. Doesn't affect your economic situation. So. Doesn't affect your pie is her exact quote was. But
empathy is not a pot. Now I don't remember what it was.
Empathy doesn't take away from the
empathy doesn't take away from your own economic pie. So
right,
I
you
thought that
can
was
still care for migrants, but
I thought
you
that
can
was
still care
a
for
great
border
point, and
patrol
to get back to the Catholic social teaching.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll have the clergyman close us in a little quick prayer, if you wouldn't mind.
In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Heavenly Father, as we leave here tonight, let us internalize what we have heard, whether we are on the journey in Texas or whether we were in the journey in Glassboro that week. We know that you call us to love our brothers and sisters, no matter what origin they are from, because we know we all want to end up in the same origin with you. In your Son's name we pray. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.